All right. Welcome to the show. This is the Frankly Fantasy Football Podcast. We are your hosts, Frankie and Johnny. Welcome into Week 9 is in the books, Frankie.
Crazy. Week 9, John. We're already past the halfway point in the regular season. How absurd.
Past the halfway point, I know. Yeah, it's crazy. What a shit show Week 9 actually was. Right?
Terrible quarterback play.
I mean, when we get to ice and fire here, you're going to see who's been on fire and who's on ice. And it looks like if you're going into your draft season, those things should be completely switched and flipped. It's crazy, man. I mean, let's just name some of the quarterbacks that started in Week 9. Tyson Bagent. Who was the guy in the Vikings that got hurt? Jaron Hall. He gets hurt. And then who's the shit stain that came in for him?
Josh Dobbs.
Oh my God. And then Josh Dobbs came in, and what a turnaround comeback. Let's talk about that for a second. Josh Dobbs meets the team Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, comes in and plays on Sunday.
Doesn't even know most of the players' last names. Doesn't even know them. Doesn't know the playbook. I mean, which he shouldn't. I mean, he knows enough to apparently, John, Kevin O'Connell was actually making up plays as he's talking to him through the helmet and just saying, "Hey, this is what you're going to need to do." Complete ad lib. I mean, dude, if anything, what a hat off performance to Josh Dobbs. It's impossible.
Yeah.
That's almost impossible to do in the NFL, and he did it.
It's the hardest position in professional sports, and the guy comes in and he's playing backyard football. That's crazy.
And he looked good. He looked
really good. He looked really good. You had Brett Rippon in L.A., who destroyed Puka and Cooper Kupp.
That's right.
Really terrible quarterback play there. I mean, just madness, man. I mean, just absolutely madness.
New York Giants had, what was it, DeVito come in?
DeVito.
Down and then,
Danny DeVito.
And Danny Dimes is out for the year now. I mean, it's ridiculous, dude. Will Levis for the Titans.
Will Levis comes in, yeah, which he shows a little, he's got a little bit of promise there, but yeah, he didn't play well. You're absolutely right, man. Hey, you can't bury the lead here, man. We're going to get to all this news and all this stuff going on. You're killing me, Frank. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is our Week 9 Ice and Fire episode. We could talk about how everybody did, who shit the bed, who did really well. We're going to get into a Thursday night preview as well. But first, we're going to get into the news and notes, man.
The season that your listeners don't expect.
News and notes.
All right. Rough week, man. Speaking of Will Levis is named the Titans starting QB, according to the coach as of today. So we will see more of Will Levis. I think better days are ahead for Will Levis here, though. Carson Wentz signing here, Frankie.
Whoa.
Okay. I was going to wonder how long it was going to take here for somebody to sign this guy. Carson Wentz signing with the Rams. Now my question to you is, that seems like a panic move that Matt Stafford is not okay. Talk to me.
Totally agree. I think Matt Stafford has a very high probability of going on IR. I think he's really hurt. You do not bring in a backup quarterback of this magnitude, knowing that your starting quarterback would be out 1 to 2 weeks. You're just not going to do that. So this is definitely interesting. John, I think it's going to be beneficial for Puka in that of Cooper Kupp compared to that of Brett Rippon from what we've seen so far, or Rippon, or however the hell you say it, you're ripping and riping. But yeah, man, it's really interesting. Carson Wentz is now relevant again.
It's great. Thank God they have a bye coming up this week, because I would not want to be staring at Cooper. I've got Cooper Kupp in one league. I've got Puka Nacua in another league, and just looking at them going, oh, God, we're going to be ripping farts, ripping throats, ripping
darts. They keep
ripping darts.
Shit.
Ripping shits. What's he doing, man? Yeah. So we'll see. Thank God they're on a bye. We'll get some more news and see how things are looking out of Rams camp here for week 11. We'll talk about that coming up. Kyler Murray. Okay. Cardinals maybe getting a little life here after getting their absolute asses beat by the Browns on Sunday. 26-27, nothing, man. Kyler Murray is looking to start in week 10. See, we told you. He looked at that schedule and said, I need one more week. Not playing the Browns. But they are going to play. He is going to start against the Falcons in week 10. Cardinals are also hoping to get James Conner's 21-day window for practice started this week as well. He is off of IR. Monitor him to see how he's doing this week in practice to see if he is going to go. Sounds like he could, though. So it could be good news for Kyler Murray and James Conner owners. All right, not so good news for the New York Football Giants here, man. I have a feeling this team is going to have the number one pick next year, man. They may not win a game the rest of the season. Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes, tears his ACL. He will miss the rest of the season. Tyrod Taylor, the backup quarterback, is on IR. Darren Waller, star tight end, number one target, is on IR. All right, talk to me about this dreadful, dreadful New York Football Giant offense.
This is going to be brutal across the board because every single defense is going to put 8 in the box. No question. 7 in the box. No question. Because basically just to stop Saquon, they have nothing else, literally nothing else. Their receivers are all subpar, all average at best. And on top of it, you're looking at a quarterback that can't even get him the ball. You know, with Danny Dimes going down and Tyrod Taylor, actually, hot take, the Giants looked the best they looked all year with Tyrod at the helm. And I don't think it's that close. They should have beat the Bills, and they should have beat one other team after. I'm drawing a blank. The team after the Bills. John, Tyrod looked very good. With both of them out, shit show. I don't want no part of any part of the Giants, man.
You don't like Tommy DeVito?
You know.
No? A good streamer and a super flex, maybe?
I'll leave it for you. Go ahead. You can take it.
20% of your fab budget? I don't think so, man. That's not happening. It's not happening. Yeah. All right, let's look at a couple guys questionable for this week. Jamar Chase. I didn't really even know about this one during the game. But Jamar Chase is questionable this week with a back injury. He just came down on it hard during the game. Keep an eye on him. That's a big one there. Khalil Herbert looking to return from IR this week. That's good news. We've got a shitty Thursday night football matchup. And if Khalil Herbert's healthy, he'll be a nice start in this game. So stay tuned to hear the preview for that. Dallas Goedert, this is unfortunate, has a forearm fracture, broke his arm, could land on IR. Could be looking at having surgery as well. Now, the one thing I want to talk about with Dallas Goedert going down is fire up Devonta Smith. We've seen in the past when Dallas Goedert is not on the field, Devonta Smith eats in the middle of the field. What do you think about that take, Frankie?
Love it. I think Devonta Smith is absolutely going to be a guy that's going to be able to eat and could be sneaky with Julio Jones. He's slowly been getting more acclimated into the system. Guys, this is not somebody that you're going to plug and play in an 8 or 10-man league, maybe even a 12-man league. If you're in a 14 to 16-person league, then absolutely could be something that if you're injury-ridden and a few other things are happening on your team and you're going the opposite direction of what you would like, might be worth a flyer on Julio. Stash him on the bench for a second and see what happens. But yeah, love Devonta Smith.
Keep in mind, the Eagles are on a bye this week in week 10. Could be a really good week to go get Devonta Smith. Somebody may need a replacement for him, may need some other pieces, especially if you've got Jalen Hurts. You want to complete that stack. I know I do. The unfortunate part is that Frankie is the one who has Devonta Smith, and I know that's not going to be an easy trade.
I'm always open.
I know you are. But yeah, Devonta Smith, serious trade candidate, especially with him being on a bye this week, if you can withstand that. Josh Downs, he was one of our starts of the week last week. He left the game with a knee injury. Don't know what his status is right now, but keep an eye on that. Cam Akers, God, man, this poor guy, out for the season, most definitely with a torn Achilles. I think it's the other Achilles that he tore this time. That's going to be done. So game over for Cam Akers, man.
John, have you ever in a season seen so many Achilles injuries?
No.
We've heard of one. We've heard of maybe 2. I can literally list off 4 to 5 guys this year alone that have had Achilles injuries. I mean, this is weird. This is weird.
Weird.
It's definitely got to be the turf to some degree of what they're playing on. I mean, it's definitely.
There has to be studies about that because that's an unusual injury too. And it has nothing to do with contact or getting hit or anything like that. Very, very strange. I agree. Yeah. Usually there's one of them happens and that player's career's over. We've seen 4 guys. And hell, you got Aaron Rodgers keep talking. Why does this keep happening? There's no chance he's really going to be able to come back, right?
I don't know, John.
This has got to be just
walking. He's what, 7 weeks removed? 6 weeks or 7 weeks removed from his surgery. He should not be able to walk on his own without a boot. There's no way. And he is not only walking, he jogged and then he's throwing the football. I mean, dude, he must have took some DMT, dropped a little bit of acid, tripping balls, like in his own little world, and it's healing himself somehow. So I don't know. That's definitely not what happened, but I'm just saying something weird. Something's happening in whatever process he's doing. And John, I'm telling you, man, we might see Aaron Rodgers be back in a few weeks, which would be crazy.
I would be shocked, man. There's just no way. He's 40 years old, for fuck's sake. I don't care if Joe Rogan is his doctor or personal trainer.
Yeah, right.
It seems insane to me, man. It seems insane. I don't know. I think it's just press. I think it's market. I think it's just something to get the team excited and the media excited in New York. I don't think it's really possible, man. But we'll see. We'll see. I hope so. I'll tell you what, that team, why the fuck do they not have Carson Wentz? Why the hell haven't they gone out and gotten somebody? I don't understand that. They're bad. The little fucking Mormon kid is bad. And that it's such a waste because that defense looks so good, man. But we've seen that with the Browns. Your excellent defense can only hold so long. If your offense can't hold the ball, can't keep the other defense off the field.
Can't get a first down.
Can't get a first down. I mean, Jesus, man, just absolutely brutal. Josh Palmer, wide receiver for the Los Angeles Chargers, is being put on IR. Is this could this be potentially go mode for Quentin Johnston at this point?
You would think so, John. Josh Palmer hasn't played the last pretty much 2 games, and outside he's 50-50. Quentin Johnston for a decent game versus a absolute shit game. And what's interesting is Guyton came in and started getting some serious targets. He already has that synergy with that of Herbert. So we'll see, man, in terms of Guyton. So we'll see. But I definitely think, if not now, when for Quentin Johnston. So I would definitely have to say it's coming soon.
It's a guy you need to stash. He needs to be on your roster. But man, I can't start him yet. And it says something to me when you've got Joshua Palmer and Guyton beating you out. I mean, that just says something to me. You know, this is supposed to be a superstar talent. And apparently it's just, he's not, I don't know if he's not getting it. I don't know if he's got the dropsies or exactly what's going on, but there's clearly a trust issue of some type there. Otherwise, he'd be playing a hell of a lot more, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, definitely agree. Totally agree.
All right, Christian Watson left the game with a back/chest injury. He is questionable for this week, so keep an eye on him. Deebo Samuel should be back this week. He did practice on Monday, so Deebo could be back in the lineup this week as well. The Falcons are hoping that Drake London can play on Sunday. He had a groin injury, did not play last week. Keep an eye on Drake London closer to Sunday. David Montgomery, I know this is going to make you happy, buddy. Monty trending towards playing on Sunday. That's good news. That's really good news. Curtis Samuel, wide receiver for the Washington Commanders, still questionable. All right, now I want to talk about this for a quick second. We talked about how terrible Jahan Dotson was. First 5 games of the season, I said I'm dropping him. I did, and then of course he comes back and has 2 good games. Yep. It's because Curtis Samuel wasn't in the game. Keep an eye on that. It's something we're going to have to watch. You got to look at who's playing, who's not, who are they affecting. Dallas Goedert being gone, that's going to really affect Devonta Smith and make him super go mode. Same thing's happening here. When Curtis Samuel is not in the game, Jahan Dotson seems to get a lot more targets. They're spreading the ball out a lot more. Can you start Jahan Dotson right now?
Yeah, I think that you can, as crazy as it sounds, because with Curtis Samuel still questionable at this point in time, if something re-aggravated with Curtis Samuel, Jahan Dotson's definitely that second guy that's coming up. I mean, John, you're looking at what he's done over the last 2 weeks since Curtis Samuel's been out. He 21.8 points against that and half PPR against that of the Eagles, which is really interesting. Had over 100 yards receiving and 8 touchdowns, or in 8 receptions and a touchdown. And then you look at what he did this past week, and he had 15 points in half PPR against that of the New England Patriots. Again, scoring a touchdown, 4 receptions on 69 yards. So yeah, you can start him in as long as that of Curtis Samuel, right, continues to be questionable.
All right, agreed. Let's get the Frankie and Johnny's Song of Ice and Fire. All right, man, let's go here. This one hurt my soul. I want to just find Arthur Smith, the head coach of the Falcons, in a back alley and he's got such a punchable face. I want to punch that goddamn mustache off his face. That's what I want to do.
If he didn't shave it off, John, I was going to rip it off his face.
I'm going to Brett ripping it off his goddamn face.
I'm going to donkey kick him like I wanted to Joe Mixon 2 years ago. Don't put yourself in front of me, Arthur Smith.
Bijan Robinson. What the usage here just absolutely kills me. 11 carries, 51 yards, less than 4 points for Bijan. I mean, it's so frustrating. I've got Bijan and I've got Tyler Algier as, a handcuff with benefits, basically. And it's killing me. It's a 50-50 split. You don't know what week that's going to happen. I don't get it. You've got number 1 draft picks, first round draft picks with Bijan and with goddamn Kyle Pitts, and they're not using them. You've got Geno Smith and Tyler Algier out there. What's going on, man?
Dude, Arthur Smith came out. His reasoning, John, was that Bijan not having the ball in his hand, or quote unquote playing off ball, opens up things more for their offense.
Okay.
That is terrible. That's
the
not
dumbest
an
shit
answer.
I've ever heard.
That's not an answer. Like, what do you mean? And I'm not talking from a fantasy perspective. I'm talking football 101. You can say that to your coaches. You don't say that to the press or to the media. Like, what are you doing, man? It's so, John, when they were on the 1 yard line and they ran Tyler Algier, they threw the ball to Geno Smith, and then ended up not getting the ball in again. And Bijan didn't touch the ball one time on the 1 yard line. What are you doing? Like,
and then they ran it. Didn't they run one in with Geno Smith as well? On like a tight end Jets. I mean, just it's absurd, man. It's absurd. You've got first round draft pick decoys is what you're doing here. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. I mean, come on, man. Terrible. Absolutely killing me. All right, I digress. DK Metcalf, 1 catch for 50 yards, 5 points. Got to get more involved here, man. I mean, the Seattle team is really up and down. Tyler Lockett didn't do shit. We've got Kenneth Walker on here on ice as well with 2 points. I mean, that was game script. They just kind of got boat raced, took the running game out of it completely. And Kenneth Walker clearly isn't there on the third downs. But yeah, man, I mean, DK with 1 catch, it's brutal, man. Geno Smith with 1 point as well. It just absolutely killed you. I'm sorry, Geno Smith with negative points. -1 and change. Yeah, jeez. Justin Herbert, 1 point out of Justin Herbert. I mean, how in the hell does that even happen? Well, I can tell you how it's happened. It's called their defense. It's called a punt return. It's called defensive touchdown. I am so pissed. I lost my week last week, and so did my son Jackson. Jackson, I feel for you, buddy. You're ahead. You feel good. You got a little bit of a lead. And you're like, I got this. It's in the bag, baby. And then the Chargers defense drops 38 points on my ass.
30 bomber. A 30 burger, dude. Oh my gosh. That is unbelievable.
So mad. Let's keep going. Travis Kelce. Oh, man, he didn't get the Taylor Swift bump here. Only 3 points for Travis. George Pickens, 1 point. Really tough starting people on that team right now, man. George Pickens with 1 point. Chris Godwin with 3 points. Will Levis, 5 points. Came back down to earth a little bit here. DJ Moore, 3 points. Man, he can't wait to get Justin Fields back, man. Bijan is not the answer, I can tell you that. Cooper Kupp and Puka, both 5 points. I mean, this is just... It's Brett Ripon, whatever his name is. It doesn't matter because they just took signed Carson Wentz. See you later, buddy. Gabe Davis, this is a 0 week for Gabe Davis as well. Lamar Jackson, this one is so frustrating. Looking at my team, I've got Lamar Jackson in a super flex league. They're kicking it. It's like 37-3 or some bullshit. They're dominating. And you look down and Lamar Jackson has no touchdowns at all. It's all rushing, man. It's absolutely insane. Would you have 3 different running backs score a rushing touchdown in that game? Just bananas.
Crazy.
Crazy. Lamar Jackson, and they still end up just dominating. And Lamar Jackson gets 8 points. Unbelievable. Devontae Adams, 5 points. Again, shit quarterback play. Aiden O'Connell, they were able to run the ball a lot. They were dominating in this game. Didn't necessarily need to throw the ball to Devontae, and he seemed happy. I think he was just happy. Everyone was gone. Everyone, see you later, Josh McDaniels. But yeah, they got to start feeding him the ball, man. This has to be a major point in their game plan coming up. It has to be. All right, let's get rid of these guys. Let's stop talking about this ice shit. Frankie, let's talk about fire. Okay, baby. We've got one of our guys from OSU, from the Ohio State University.
Yeah.
Definitely offensive rookie of the year right now, without even a question about it. Talk about your boy.
Ooh, I'd be glad to. Baby, I'm talking CJ Stroud over here, throwing dimes, baby. He's the number 8 quarterback in half PPR. What did he do this past week? He threw the ball 42 times, completed 30 of them for 470 yards passing in 5 touchdowns, not to mention a comeback drive down 4 with 40 seconds and no timeouts. None. You lead a team to score on that absolutely perfection by CJ Stroud. What did he end up having, John? 49.8 points this week. CJ Stroud scorching on fire, baby.
CJ Stroud could be a super flex league winner.
Totally.
He really could, because you most likely have him as your second QB. 50-point banger like that. Whew, it's gorgeous. Gorgeous. All right, I'm going to talk about this next quarterback here. I picked him up off of waivers. Helped me out this week. It was beautiful. Dak Prescott. He really did have a great game.
Really
I'm very hypercritical on Dak, but he actually deserved it. He had a great game this week. 374 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 29 points out of Dak. All right, talk about Josh Allen, man. Number 3.
Dude, Stallion Allen, baby, over here. He ended up having, John, 258 yards passing and ended up throwing the ball for a touchdown. He did have 1 pick, but where he excelled, man, was on the ground. Vintage Josh Allen, 44 yards and an additional touchdown. Again, he did lose to that of the Bengals, but from a fantasy perspective, 26 points in fantasy football. Guys, what's interesting for Josh Allen, after this week, he is the number 1 quarterback in fantasy football. And in half PPR, he's the number 1 overall scoring player through week 9. Hats off to you, brother.
Yeah, Josh Stallion, baby. All right, coming in at number 4, Joe Burrow with 26 points. Jalen Hurts with 25 points. Josh Dobbs getting the Cyrano de Bergerac treatment, getting the calls in his ear, basically. Yeah, hats off, Josh Dobbs. Wow, 22 points out of Josh Dobbs. Hi, my name is Joshua, and I'm going to be your quarterback today. What's your name? Okay, I'm going to throw you a touchdown right now.
Oh, here, let me put my hands under your crotch while you go ahead and snap the ball. What is your name again? Excuse me, sir? Oh, okay. I forgot it.
Let me rub those knuckles up against your taint right now, and you hack me the ball. How's that sound? Deshaun Watson, number 7 with 22 points, and Baker Mayfield with 21. All right, Frankie, let's talk about some running backs here. This is a guy, I love seeing him at number 1 on the list. It's a guy that we've talked about. It's not a guy you hear a lot about in fantasy football. We talked about him early on with a really good Would You Rather. We talked about him a couple of weeks ago here. This is a sneaky player, and he's the number 1 running back on the week this week. Talk about it.
We're talking Rachaad White, baby, out there of Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What did he do? He ran the ball 20 times, got 73 yards rushing, and he caught 4 of 4 targets for 46 yards, and he ran for 2 tutties. What did he have? He had 26 fantasy points in half PPR. John, Rachaad White did almost all of the work in that game. And what's fascinating about him is over the last 3 weeks, man, he's had 13 points, 14 points, and then 26 points. He is truly coming alive when they need him to the most. And when you start looking at his schedule, man, you start looking at, you got Tennessee next week. That's a really good matchup. Then you have San Francisco. We would say that's normally not great, but over the last few weeks, San Fran's been getting run on quite a bit. And then he has the Colts, Carolina, Atlanta, Green Bay. We got some favorable matchups for a pass catch and running back here, man. So keep tabs on Rachaad White, because we might see a little bit more of this kind of play coming from him in the weeks to come.
Last 4 weeks after the bye, 4 targets, 6 targets, 7 targets, 4 targets. So yeah, I'm not worried about the defenses that he's playing, because he can get the targets. He can, yes, it's San Francisco, but he could have 7, 8 targets in that game, and that'll help get him through. So I love that, man. All right, number 2. All right, we got to talk about this Ravens backfield now. Number 2 running back on the week is Keaton Mitchell. Okay, yes, I've never heard of him until this week, and the guy comes out and just blows it up with 24 points for your fantasy team, or for no one's fantasy team, most likely. Keaton Mitchell, all right, so this is the situation with the Ravens running backs. You got Justice Hill as a starter. You've got Gus Edwards, and now we're going to throw another wrench in there with Keaton Mitchell. What do you do with this Ravens backfield, man? Talk to me.
Start them all. And I'm not even kidding. Usually you would say not start any of them. In this situation, you have to start them all. John, Keaton Mitchell went nuclear. He had what, 9 rushes, 8 rushes is what he actually had. And his I think he was on the field as well. And I'll have to double check on this, but I think for a total of 11 plays. And what he did was nuts. Was absolutely nuts. And then you're like, okay, well, none of the other running backs could have done that well. Bullshit. You ever see that kid, that meme that goes, bullshit, in the backseat of the car? Like, that's how I feel right now. Gus Edwards ended up balling too. He rushed the ball for 52 yards and 2 touchdowns on 5 carries. 5 carries. He averaged 10 yards a carry and a touchdown, a half of a touchdown, just about in every carry. I mean, John, this is kind of unprecedented, man. Like, you never see this kind of shit. And it's either you take the route of you're playing the guessing game on which running back is going to do well, or you're not going to really start any of them. In my opinion, if you got any of these guys, fire them up, because somebody's going to eat at least 2 out of the 3 yards. So absolutely insane what has happened here in Baltimore with these running backs.
They're running the ball a ton, and they're just rotating guys here. And they're so efficient. I don't know what to do here. I mean, yeah, you could say fire them all up, but I don't. Gus Edwards and Keaton Mitchell had 18. Each of them had 18% of snaps. How do you start a guy who's on the field 18% of the time?
5 rushes.
5 rushes. I mean, I can't do that. I can't. I mean, Gus Edwards, I'm okay putting out there for, an emergency start. But again, he didn't see the field that much. Justice Hill is the starter, 63% of snaps, 13, carries. He had 40 yards. I mean, he just didn't break any of the big ones out. It's super confusing, man. I really don't know what to do. In my mind, I feel like you can start Justice Hill. It hasn't been great. It's just been, it hasn't been great. He hasn't had a double-digit game since week 1. Yeah, you're right. But Keaton Mitchell, oh God, I don't know.
It's gross. It's gross. It's a gross start. But dude, you look at Gus Edwards over the last 3 weeks, John. Gus Edwards is the number 10 running back in half PPR right now. Over the last 3 weeks, 20 points, 27 points, and 18 points. Like, that's crazy as shit. And it's not like he got the bulk of the load one game. The rest of them, he's broken these plays. I mean, it's pretty wild, man. I mean, it truly is what's happening in Baltimore.
How many carries has he had in the past 3 games?
I can tell you. So against that of the Detroit Lions 3 games ago, he ended up having 14. Not super great. The game against Arizona, he took the bulk of the load. That was the game I was referring to, 19 carries. This week, he had 5. He had 5. And scored 18 points.
All right, let's move on. And we're going to keep talking about what we don't know what to do with this Baltimore backfield here. Ramondre Stevenson coming in with a strong game. All right, Ramondre's back. We've been saying now's the time. And yep, he's back. Only 9 carries, but 87 yards and a touchdown. He's getting the targets, man. This is what we needed to see. That's exactly what we were predicting and exactly what we were hoping for. 4 catches on 6 targets for 42 yards. That's what's helping him out. So that's absolutely, he broke a big yard, longest of his career. I think a 61-yard run, 65-yarder. Yeah. So Ramondre Stevenson, welcome back. Thank you for your 23 points. Frankie, why don't you talk about the next 2 guys? I know you're a big fan.
Oh, yeah. We got Josh Jacobs coming in at number 4 here, man. He absolutely dominated. He ran the ball 26 times, getting an absolute crazy workload for 98 yards and 2 tutties. Again, playing against the Giants with a rookie QB, you knew they were going to rely on him, and boy, did he shine. 22 points for that of Josh Jacobs and half PPR. And John, Monday night game, Austin Eckler is awesome. Eckler is what we said last year, and he is back, baby. He ended up scoring twice, ran the ball only 14 times, but he had 47 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 receptions for 23 yards. Dude does it all. Special cat.
Super special. Right after that, Gus Edwards, we talked about 18 points. Derrick Henry once again for 17 points. Alexander Madison, welcome back, 16 points. Hey, if you held on to Madison, you're feeling pretty good about that. I mean, he was a trade all day long. You had Cam Akers in there. You lost Kirk Cousins. It was doomsday for Alexander Madison. Now things are looking pretty good. He's got the backfield to himself. Yep. He's got Joshua Dobbs in there. JJ will be coming back in a couple of weeks, most likely. Looking interesting for Alexander Madison, man. Don't hate it. Jonathan Taylor coming in with 15 points as well. All right, give me a couple receivers here, buddy, because I know you love this guy. Are they all going to be? They're all going to be Houston Texans, obviously.
Oh, they're totally going to be Houston Texans. And the first guy on here is the guy that we said to start, baby. Fire him up. Tank Dell Tank. What did he do? He ended up having 27.6 fantasy points and half PPR, 11 targets, 6 receptions, 114 yards, and 2 tutties. He ended up catching the game winner from that of CJ Stroud. Dude's special. Dude is a very, very good rookie and showing serious synergy with that of CJ Stroud. Love what these two are doing together.
Oh, yeah. Well, throw his buddy out there, too, while you're at it.
Might as well. Let's go back to another OSU guy. How about that? Bringing it deep, baby. I'm talking Noah Brown. Noah Brown, right? The ex-Cowboy who kind of got lost in the sauce. Nobody really wanted him. More of a blocker than a receiver from a receiving standpoint. Man, did he blow up. Guys, he ended up going nuclear, ended up having 153 yards receiving. He had 6 receptions, 1 touchdown, and absolutely dominated to the tune of 26 fantasy points. Unbelievable.
Okay, let's talk about a non-Houston Texans receiver right now. Amari Cooper coming in at the receiver 3 this week. Gotta love that. 23 points. How fucked up was that pass? You want to talk? I've seen a lot of doink kicks, but I've never seen a doink pass for a touchdown like that. Throws the ball, bounces off a lineman's helmet, and 50 feet in the air, and Amari Cooper comes down with it, man. I mean, just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I'll take it. We'll take it. Great throw, Deshaun. Great throw, man. CeeDee Lamb at number 4 with 22 points. Man, he's coming on strong right now. CeeDee Lamb. Wide receiver 5 right now. I just want to play. Let me read off to you the Cowboys schedule here. Another thing we want to talk about a lot more. Next episode, we're going to touch on this a little bit too. Let's look at trade deadlines are going to be coming up. Most of them are around week 12, week 11, week 13, something like that. A trade deadline is going to be coming up. Start looking at schedules coming down the stretch here, because that's going to be a huge difference. Let's look at the Cowboys schedule. If you're wanting to trade for Tony Pollard, if you can try to trade for CeeDee Lamb, if Dak Prescott's sitting out there, this looks gorgeous. They've got the Giants next week, then Carolina, then Washington, and Seattle. I mean, we've got a nice stretch of games here. And in your playoffs, you're looking at Buffalo, Miami, Detroit. Not terrible there either.
No.
Yeah, not terrible there. CeeDee Lamb, he is a guy that I think he's gonna end up finishing a top 5. Definitely. No question about it in my mind. Yeah. Stephon Diggs comes in at 19 points. He just sits there in that top 5, seems to be every single week. Deontay Johnson. Ooh, welcome back, buddy. Okay. 7 catches out of Deontay Johnson gives him 18 points. A.J. Brown, you can't keep him down, man. 16 points out of him. And T. Higgins, 16. Jahan Dotson, 15 points. Let's look at some tight ends here, man. Oh, surprise. It's a Houston Texan. Talk about it.
We're talking about Dalton Schultz, baby. He exploded. I mean, absolutely went nuts. 11 targets for a tight end, 10 receptions for 130 yards and a touchdown. Guys, he had 22 points. 22 points from a tight end. Incredible.
Let's look at let me just name the top 5 tight ends, just for shits and giggles, because it's super, super fun. Dalton Schultz at number 1 with 22 points. Taysom Hill, another Swiss Army knife week. Yeah, my son Jackson said, hey, man, I mean, should I pick up this guy or that guy? I'm like, hell no. You got Taysom Hill. It's like, throw it out there. It's a super flex league. You've got 3 starting quarterbacks on your super flex team right now. And sure as shit, Taysom Hill, 20 points. Cole Kmet with 20 points. Geno Smith with 20 points. And Cade Otton with 19 points.
John,
why do we even do all this draft prep is what I want to know. Why do we even do it? Why?
There was a guy that ended up putting a bet in. It was a $5 bet on 2 touchdowns from Cade York and from Cole Kmet this week in a parlay. Hit for 30 grand.
Oh my God.
What?
What kind of balls do you have to bet that Cade Otton and who else did you say?
It's Cole Kmet.
Cole Kmet.
They each had to have 2 touchdowns.
That's
what?
Ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Sorry, had to throw that out there. Crazy.
You know, that's anybody making that bet. That's just money that, you know, if you've got that much money to throw away, invest in something for fuck's sake. That's ridiculous.
He's gonna take that 30K and invest it. Shit.
Oh no, he's not. He's gonna make other ridiculous bets.
Into DraftKings is what he's gonna do.
2 touchdowns for Hayden Hurst and who else?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I wonder if anybody had money that Dare Agumbawale was going to kick a field goal in that game.
How about
that? Is that crazy? You've got the
happening?
third string running back kicking field goals. Apparently he used to be a soccer player as well or something. That was the weirdest looking shit, but he was booming the kickoffs too, man. He was booming the kickoffs, and then he made a field goal. That was pretty cool. Pretty impressive. All right, defenses. I'm going to name a few because they went off this week. I mean, 3 of the top 5 fantasy scorers this week were defenses. Crazy. Cleveland Browns, number 1. That feels great. That feels great. 34 points in our league. The Chargers at number 2 with 33 points. The Colts at number 3 with 31. And the Raiders with 23. All right, man. Let's talk a little bit about Thursday Night Football preview. I don't know there's going to be a whole lot to say about it. Yeah, we got a real banger here, guys. Who's in charge of programming at NFL Network's what I want to know. The 1-6 Carolina Panthers travel to the Windy City for the 2-6 Chicago Bears. The Bears are favored by 3.5, and the over/under should be 6 points, but it's 39. All right, man. Talk to me about the Panthers. We're in Chicago, playing against the Bears defense. Doesn't scare you? Is the fact that both of these teams are so bad give it some value?
It does. It does, actually. Yes, John. And I'm really, I mean, you got to fire up Adam Thielen. That's it is what it is. Fire his ass up and enjoy. But let me touch on Adam Thielen. Please. I know you and I have gone back and forth. I've not been a fan. I think he's too old. I think we're starting to see the decline. I said to trade him because he's an older player. It's hard to withstand that and sustain those kind of touches, stats, all of that at that age on the field. I think we're starting to see a decline. I do think you can start him in this week, especially with all these buys coming up and all these receivers you're going to be missing. But yeah, I think it is the decline of Adam Thielen. John, the question that's going to be interesting is who's the running back for the Panthers? Chuba Hubbard? Miles Sanders is just absolutely had a pathetic year. Let's just call it what it is. It's been not even bad. It's been pathetic for what they actually brought him on to do. And then you give Chuba Hubbard kind of the keys last game and didn't do that much with it. And so, me personally, man, one of these guys are going to pop. Not sure which one, but you're going to start one of them. And so I'm not here to tell you which one because I'm not starting either of them, but a lot of people will. And so you're going to roll with one and rock it out. That's all I have to say for those. It's that toss up.
Yeah, I mean, you had Chuba Hubbard. He's clearly getting more.
Yeah,
he's the starter right now. 63% of snaps versus 25% with Miles Sanders. 16 carries for Chuba Hubbard, 58 yards last week. He had 6 targets, 4 catches on 6 targets, though. Yeah, I mean, I think right now, until further notice, it is Chuba Hubbard is the guy to play. I would not feel great throwing Sanders out there. You might see a little more of a mix, but Chuba Hubbard's playing pretty well right now. They like him. They know him. I think he's going to continue and still see that 70-30 split there.
Yep.
I don't feel good about it. I'm not excited. Yay, I'm starting Chuba Hubbard. Chub. No, that's not happening. Nope. But what about the receivers on this team with Bryce Young? I mean, do you see any value there at all?
No, literally. I mean, I would try to say Mingo, they haven't been able to get him involved. The rookie out of Ole Miss. I mean, you would think he would be tearing up, and he hasn't been very good. Bryce Young has not played very effectively this season. Again, the offensive line is a big reason for that. But John, outside of Adam Thielen, I don't see anything else from a receiver perspective.
All right, that's not a good prognosis. Hey, you're playing the Bears, and the only guy you can start is Adam Thielen. That sucks.
Roll him out.
That's brutal. All right, let's go to the Bears, man. We might get Khalil Herbert back.
Smash play
If he's back, right?
Yeah. Totally smash play. And if he is not, John, it's got to be Foreman. Roschon Johnson, we called it last week. We're a little hesitant to start him or Foreman last week, and really hope you guys didn't have to do that because both were really bad. However, if Khalil Herbert can't go, in my eyes, it's Foreman that I'd be firing up.
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
He can go, it's Khalil Herbert, and it is eating. It is time to eat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've got Justin Herbert should be back in the next few weeks. I think he's starting to throw the ball a little bit, starting to, get a little juice on it. We still are going to have Tyson Bagent out there. Is there anybody besides DJ Moore? Well, Cole Kmet.
Cole Kmet is a must start, start at this point in time, John. And he has kind of been that way even with Justin Fields earlier in the year. He's just been very quiet. But with Tyson Bagent, the thing is he's keying now on Cole Kmet rather than it's DJ Moore with what Justin Fields was doing. So you got to fire him up. John, here's a sneaky play. Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney is an interesting play in deeper leagues. Ever since Tyson Bagent has gotten the opportunity to start, we've seen a slight uptick in that of Darnell Mooney's targets here. Outside of week 1, John, where Justin Fields was playing and obviously Mooney, he had 7 targets. Outside of that, week 2, 0, week 1 or week 3, 1 target, 4, 5, and 6, 4 targets. Week 6, he had 3 targets. Once Tyson Bagent took over, he had 5, 4, and 6. So we have seen a significant uptick, and he had 82 yards last week, season high. So for me, in a deeper league, this could be interesting. It's a very risky play. I'm not saying it's a grand slam by any means, but with all the buys, with all the injuries, Darnell Mooney might be interesting in a deep league.
It's gross.
It's not. It's
gross.
Don't like it.
But you're absolutely right. And the data's there. He spent the first 6 weeks just doing cardio, and now he's actually catching some balls.
That's exactly it.
I love it. All right. Well, who do you think is going to win this game? What do you think is going to happen?
I think it's
here?
Bears. I'm going Windy City here. The reason being is because a lot of the top defenders for Carolina are going to be out. They've already been ruled out. Brian Burns and cornerback, I'm drawing a blank. Their top cornerback is also going to be out. So for me, this should be a Bears win. At home, Windy City, home field advantage, under the lights, prime time. Just, it is what it is. The Bears should win this game. The Carolina Panthers are so bad.
I think you're going to see Cole Kmet get targeted heavily. I think you're going to see a ton of running in this game. And I think you're going to see a lot of right on the line of scrimmage shots to DJ Moore. I think you're going to see a lot of bubble screens. Just try to get the ball out of Bijan's hands and get it into someone else's. And you saw Justin Fields do that a lot with DJ Moore.
Definitely.
Right off the rip, first play was like a 50-yard touchdown right off the line of scrimmage. I think you're going to see a lot more of that. I think you're going to see a lot less of him throwing the ball down the field too much. Yeah.
John, do you know what's one quick call out too is? Guys, I don't have this on my hand, but for those listening and watching, look at the prop bet for Cole Kmet. I would be interested to understand what the receiving yardage is and the catches. If it is 3 or so catches, I'm hammering that over on receiving, on reception. So check it out. I don't know what it is, but it could be pretty interesting.
Love that, man. All right, that's the show for today, everyone. Don't forget you can follow us on social media on Instagram at Frankly Fantasy Football. You listen to the podcast, please watch it and subscribe on YouTube as well. Frankie, we got a good one coming up here, man. Coming out this Friday, we're going to have our starts and sits, our smash and pass, our hit it and quit it for week 10. It's going to be challenging, man. We got some big teams on bye this week, at least the Eagles, Chiefs, Dolphins, Rams, just off the top of my head. That's a lot of fantasy already, man. It's going to be really, really tough. Stay tuned. Any parting words, my brother?
Guys, enjoy this week. Get your waiver wire picks in. Pick up Keaton Mitchell. Pick up a few others. And don't be picking your nose when it comes to the Thursday night game, because if you got some people playing, it could be interesting, even though it could be a very poopy game. So stay tuned.
And if you got any of those players, for God's sakes, take them out of your flex. Put them in your wide receiver one or wide receiver 2 or running back 2 spot. All right, everyone. May the fantasy gods smile upon you. Bye.